Please, pretend you're my grandson.
She grabbed his arm and whispered, "Please, pretend you're my grandson." And the way she said it, voice shaking, eyes darting toward the corner, told him everything. This wasn't confusion. This was pure, genuine fear. Hey everyone, I'm Faith, and today I want to tell you about Ethan Cole, a Navy SEAL trained to run toward danger when everyone else runs away. But nothing in his training prepared him for what happened inside a little roadside diner on a stormy Arizona night. Ethan had been driving for hours through empty desert roads, rain hammering the windshield. He pulled into the Desert Star Diner, a classic old spot off Route 66. Checkered floors, buzzing neon signs, smell of coffee in the air. He wasn't looking for anything special, just a hot drink and 5 minutes of quiet. Blaze was with him, his German Shepherd, his partner through 3 overseas deployments. Ethan trusted Blaze's instincts more than most people's words. So, when they walked in and Blaze's ears immediately shot up, locked onto something across the room, Ethan paid attention. That's when he saw her. An old woman sitting completely alone in a window booth. Small, frail, white hair neatly pinned back. Hands wrapped around a coffee cup she hadn't touched. Staring at the door like she wasn't waiting for someone to arrive, but for something bad to happen. If stories like this hit you in the chest, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss one. And tell me in the comments, has a complete stranger ever shown up for you at exactly the right moment? I read every single one. Now back to Ethan, because it's about to get tense. A few booths away sat a man named Raymond Voss. Sharp pinstripe suit, way too polished for a diner in the middle of nowhere. He hadn't ordered food, hadn't touched his phone. He was just watching her, still, patient, like a man who had already made up his mind. The woman's name was Dorothy Harmon, 84 years old. She'd stopped to wait out the storm, but earlier at a gas station, she'd made a mistake. She'd mentioned to a stranger that she was carrying cash. $4,300. Her late husband Harold's life insurance money on its way to pay off a family debt. It had felt harmless in the moment. Now, Raymond hadn't taken his eyes off her for over an hour. Dorothy had figured out what was happening, and she had no idea what to do. Then Ethan walked in. Something made her reach across to him. Maybe the uniform, maybe Blaze, sitting so calm and steady like everything would be okay. Whatever it was, Dorothy leaned forward, dropped her voice to barely a breath and said it. "Please, pretend you're my grandson. There's a man watching me and I'm scared." Ethan didn't hesitate, didn't ask questions, didn't make it weird. He just slid into the booth right beside her, wrapped one arm gently around her shoulders and said, warm and easy, like it was the most natural thing in the world.
"Sorry I'm late, Grandma. Those roads were something else tonight."
Dorothy's whole body just exhaled. Blaze ducked under the table and rested his big head on her feet. Dorothy looked down at him, and even through all that fear, she smiled. Raymond Voss had gone completely still. Ethan never looked directly at him, didn't need to. He stayed warm, called the waitress over, ordered Dorothy fresh coffee and apple pie, and just talked to her, really talked. Asked about her family, and Dorothy told him about Harold, gone 3 years now, about her daughter in Tucson who had no idea where she was, about how all she wanted was to get home safe. Meanwhile, Ethan's eyes were doing what they'd been trained to do for over a decade, tracking every movement in that room without anyone noticing. Smoothed his jacket, shot one long, hard look at Ethan. Ethan held it for exactly 1 second, just one, and Raymond walked out into the rain without a word. The second that door swung shut, Dorothy's hand flew to her mouth and her whole body shook. Not from sadness, from relief so overwhelming she couldn't hold it in anymore. But Ethan didn't leave. He stayed a full hour more, called Dorothy's daughter from her phone, and didn't hang up until every arrangement was made. Walked her to her car, checked the back seat himself, old habit. Then stood in that rainy parking lot with Blaze until headlights appeared and a woman came running across the wet pavement, crying, "Mom, oh God, Mom," pulling Dorothy into her arms like she'd never let go. Ethan stepped back quietly, watched, said nothing. Dorothy turned around one last time before getting in the car. She looked at this rain-soaked soldier standing under the neon glow with his dog at his side, and said softly,
You really do look like my grandson, you know?
Ethan laughed, a real one, the kind that surprised even him. He never told her his last name. She never asked. Later, sitting alone in his truck, Blaze's chin resting on his knee, Ethan thought about something his commanding officer once told him. The mission isn't always where they send you. Sometimes, the mission finds you. He hadn't fully understood it back then. He did now. Here's what stays with me about this story. Courage doesn't always look the way we expect. Sometimes, it's not a battlefield or a headline. Sometimes it's a tired soldier sliding into a diner booth and saying, "Sorry I'm late, Grandma," and meaning every word. Sometimes the bravest thing is simply showing up, quietly, fully, without needing anyone to notice. Dorothy made it home, paid off the debt, put Harold's photo on the kitchen wall, and sat beside it a long time, telling him about the soldier and the dog she met in the rain. And Ethan drove on into the dark Arizona night, Blaze asleep in the back, the Desert Star Diner fading in the rear view, carrying one more story he'd never tell anyone. And one more reason to believe people are still worth protecting. So tell me, have you ever helped a stranger, or has a stranger ever helped you when you needed it most? Share it in the comments. I'd love to read it. And if this story touched you, please subscribe. There are so many more coming.